Hey, what's going on, guys? In this video I'm going to go over the new content locker, what it is and how you can use it. So this is the version 2 of our content lockers. The previous content locker only worked on mobile traffic, and this new content locker works on mobile and it also works on desktop, and it has a lot of cool features. So let's just get right into it. So we're going to create a content locker on this page, and so you can create content lockers and you can also view your current content lockers and get all that information. But let's go ahead and create a new content locker. So you can see the settings on the left and the previews on the right. So first is advanced, and there's notes. This notes doesn't really show up anywhere. This is just used for you if you want to say, like, what site you have this content locker on. Next is conversions required. This is the amount of offers the user needs to complete in order for the content locker to unlock. You can set 1 to 4. I'm going to go with 1. Next is the load method, and there are 3 options: immediate, timer, and on-click. Immediate is pretty obvious. This shows the content locker as soon as the page is loaded. Next is timer. If you want the content locker to show up after 5 seconds of the page being loaded, you can do that. You have some settings or some seconds options to choose from. And lastly, we have on click. This basically only shows the content locker when the function OGload has been called. You can use this function in a button, you can use it in a progress bar. Basically, whenever this function is called, the content locker will show up. But I'm going to start with immediate. Next we have unlock actions. This is what happens when the user completes all the offers and the content locker is unlocked. So we have remove locker and redirect to URL. Remove locker basically just removes the locker and shows what was behind the locker. And redirect to URL, if you want to redirect your users to a web page when they complete the content locker, just put the URL in there and it will send them to this URL once they complete it. Lastly, we have the access time. This is the amount of time the user has access to your locked content before the locker shows again. You can set days, hours, and then even minutes. Next we have desktop. So we split up settings between desktop and mobile because some people might want different titles for desktop and a different title for mobile. So let's start with desktop. This is the title, so premium content desktop. This is just an example to show you that the title is different on desktop than it is on mobile. Next is the description. This shows up in the content locker. Depending on the theme that you're using, it will show up in different spots. Next is the background opacity. Pretty self-explanatory, just the opacity of the background. You can set it really light or really dark. Next we have the themes. So we have a couple of themes and we'll always be adding more. These are just different looks of the desktop content locker. We actually have some cool themes for Facebook, as you can see, and some cool themes for Instagram. I'm just going to go with theme 1 for now. And then if you wanted to customize the theme, we have a custom theme that you could use, but you can even customize the pre-built themes. You just hit yes, and then this is where you can add title icons, you can add in background images, you can change the width, the height, and the colors of all the content locker look, but I'm going to say no. Next we have desktop offers. This basically shows how many offers you want to show. For example, if you wanted 1 offer to show up in the content locker, put 1 offer and it just shows 1. We'll do 3. So now we have the mobile settings, and then we could go over to the mobile preview. So we got the mobile title and mobile description. Obviously you'd want to put better titles than that. And then we have themes. So we have a couple different themes. You can choose whichever theme you'd like. And just like the desktop content locker, if you wanted to customize them, you can hit yes. So then you can hit the image, which is the title image, a background image, which some themes use, and you can also change the color of certain things, like so. But I'm just going to stick with no customization in theme 1. Lastly, we have the offer type sort. So this is where you can tell the mobile content locker, hey, I just want app installs to show up in my content locker, or hey, I just want CPA offers, like email submits, to show up. You can also mix and match in some of these options below. I'm just going to stick with CPI only. And that's pretty much it. You're ready to create the content locker, and you can hit create. So the content locker has been created, and as you can, if you scroll down, you see the content lockers. If you want to get the options and the code and all that stuff, all you need to do is click on anything. So just click on the row. So we'll see a couple options. We got edit, offers, preview, delete. We got the JavaScript code, and then we have details. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you how you implement this content locker into your website, and then as I do that, we'll go into some of these options up top. So we do have ad block detection. So if you check that box, you'll just get the ad block protection code. We also have JavaScript disabled detection if you want that. You can mix and match those options, or you don't even have to have that. And then we also have a cool feature called dynamic options. So if we check that box, you can see we can pass in variables for the title, the description, for desktop and mobile. So this is very useful for people who have, for example, game cheat sites. They have hundreds of articles on different games, but they don't want to create 100 content lockers. They just have to create one content locker, and then they can pass in the game info into these variables, which, as you can see, are passed into the JavaScript code. So you just put this JavaScript code on and put in the variables. You just would pass these variables into the script. But that's some advanced options that you don't really need to worry about. So let's go ahead and put this on a website. So we'll copy the JavaScript code, and it tells you to put it in the head tag of your website. So I have a little test website set up. We'll go into the code, and this is the head section. So right before the head ends, we'll put our code in there. And so once you paste it in, as you can see, content locker shows up. So now we can get into the edit function. So if you want to edit anything from your content locker, just hit edit, and it will load up everything. So let's go over the different load methods. So we got immediate, which you saw before. As soon as the page loads, shows the content locker. Let's go over the timer. So I want the content locker to show up 3 seconds after the page is loaded. So I changed those settings. I click save, and now everything is good to go. The code did not change to the same code, so I just refresh the page, and as you can see, 3 seconds later, the content locker shows up. So that's pretty cool. Next, we have the last option, on click. If I save that method, save the settings. Oops, I'm not editing it. Let me go back to that, edit the code, and I'm going to change that to on click. Basically what happens with this is every time this function OGload is called, the content locker will show up. So I changed it to on click, and as you can see, if I refresh the page, the content locker doesn't show up. So people might use this for a button click or progress bar. I'll show those two examples. So I want the content locker to show up when this button is clicked. So I'll find the code for that button, and here's the button right here. So all you do is just add an on click of OGload, and I'll save that. And so if I reload the page and I click the button, the content locker shows up. So that's cool. But what if I want it to show up in like my progress bar? So I'll find the progress bar code, which I know is right here. Right here is where the progress bar ends. I'll save that, refresh the page, and so when the progress bar ends, it will show the content locker. There you go. All you really need to know is whenever you use onClick, whenever you want the content locker to load, all you got to do is call this OG_load function. So those are the options for load methods. If you want to preview your content locker, there's that preview button. Pretty straightforward. If you want to delete the content locker, you can delete it. And the last option is offers settings. So if we click on offers, here we give you the ability for each content locker, you can edit the offers that show up. If you want to completely remove a locker or an offer from your content locker, you just move all the countries over to not in locker and click save. But if there's an offer that has a couple countries, and let's just say I don't want this offer to show for Canada, you move the Canada over to not in locker and click update. So you can do this for any offer that we have. You can change the offer settings. It's very useful if you want to really get into your statistics and optimize your offers. So that's pretty much it for the new content locker. It's a great tool, a lot new features, and we finally have desktop content locking. If you have any questions, make sure you contact your account manager, and thanks for watching.